The Awakening. The Galactic Empire believed itself eternal, unchallenged, absolute. Its fleets darkened the skies of countless worlds, its soldiers enforced the will of the Empress with ruthless efficiency. For millennia, they had conquered, subjugated, and ruled without question. When whispers of rebellion grew too loud, when planets defied imperial rule, they did not send armies. They sent assassins. The latest threat to their dominion came from an insignificant blue world, a species barely a blip on the galactic scale. Yet somehow, these humans had grown defiant. They refused to kneel. The Empress had tolerated their insolence long enough. Thus, the order was given: eliminate the human resistance, eradicate their leaders, break their spirit. The Empire's deadliest killers, shadows that moved unseen, nightmares given form, descended upon Earth. And that was when they made their first mistake. Yelena Morova did not consider herself special. She was not a politician, not a general, not a scientist building grand weapons of war. She was just a woman who had spent too many years in too many places where death was an old companion. Wars fought in cold silence, in forgotten alleys, in the dark places where history left no records. She had been many things: soldier, spy, executioner. But for the past few years, she had tried to be nothing at all. The war had taken too much from her, and she had wanted to leave it behind. But war had a way of finding her. The first sign was the missing names. Old friends, contacts, people she had fought beside in conflicts that never made the news, they were vanishing. Not publicly, not dramatically. Just gone, erased as if they had never existed. Then came the whispers, the bodies turning up in distant places, their deaths carefully staged to look like accidents, sickness, suicide. Yelena knew better. She recognized the work of professionals. Then they came for her. First blood. The assassin was good, not careless, no arrogance, no hesitation. He entered her safe house in the dead of night, moving like a ghost. A blade of monomolecular sharpness gleamed in his hand, ready to end her life before she could wake. He failed. Yelena did not sleep like ordinary people. She had trained her body to rest in cycles, her mind always a step away from full awareness. The moment the assassin's foot crossed the threshold, she was already moving. The fight was brief. He was fast, but she was faster. His blade met empty air as she twisted, countered, broke his wrist, stole the weapon, and buried it in his throat. Silence. She stood over the body, her breath calm, heart steady. She searched him quickly, finding no insignia, no marks, nothing that could be traced. But she knew who had sent him. The Empire. They thought her death would go unnoticed, that humanity would bow after its strongest were eliminated. They had no idea what they had just unleashed. Yelena did not run. She did not hide. Instead, she hunted. She pulled old contacts out of the shadows, whispered to ghosts who owed her favors. She tracked the killers back to their source, moving through the underbelly of cities, through black markets and hidden channels. One by one, she found them. And one by one, she ended them. Word spread. The assassins were no longer hunters, they were prey. The woman they had come to eliminate had become a specter of vengeance, a nightmare that moved unseen. The galaxy had a name for their worst fears, a legend passed between mercenaries and soldiers in hushed tones: Baba Yaga. She had been a myth before. Now she was real. The hunt. By the time the Empire realized what was happening, it was too late. Their assassins had vanished, their safe houses reduced to silent graves. Fear crept through their ranks like a plague, fear of a single human woman who had turned their own weapon against them. Yelena moved like a phantom through imperial networks. Every safe house she breached revealed more intelligence, more targets, more threads in the web of conquest the Empire had woven around Earth. She learned their methods, their hierarchies, their weaknesses. The Empire responded with increasing desperation. They sent better killers, more advanced technology, deadlier weapons. Each attempt only fueled Yelina's resolve and added to her growing arsenal of stolen Imperial gear. She began targeting their operations beyond Earth, supply lines, communication relays, recruitment centers. What had started as self-defense became something larger, a one-woman insurgency that struck at the heart of Imperial power. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as reports filtered through underground channels. A single human had declared war on the most powerful force in known space. It should have been suicide. Instead, it was revolution. Other resistance cells, previously isolated and hopeless, began to coordinate. Yelina's actions had shown them something they thought impossible: the Empire could bleed. They could be hurt. They could be afraid. Aboard a stolen Imperial stealth ship, Yelina prepared for the next phase of her war. The Empire had made this personal when they came for her friends, her people, her world. Now she would make them understand the price of that mistake. The hunter had become the nightmare. And the nightmare was just getting started. Empire strikes back. The Empress herself finally took notice. Reports of the human insurgent had reached the highest levels of Imperial command, and what she heard defied everything she knew about warfare. A single operative had crippled an entire assassination network, stolen classified technology, and somehow convinced other worlds to join in open rebellion. This could not stand. The Empress deployed her personal guard, the Void Hunters, warriors who had never known defeat, equipped with technology that could level cities. If the human wanted a war, she would get one that would end with Earth's complete annihilation. Yelina saw them coming. The stolen Imperial sensors aboard her ship detected the massive fleet approaching Earth's solar system. Hundreds of vessels, enough firepower to turn the planet into cosmic dust. The message was clear: surrender or watch your world burn. But Yelina had spent months preparing for this moment. The resistance cells she had inspired were no longer scattered and afraid. They had weapons, they had coordination, and most importantly, they had hope. The battle for Earth's solar system lasted 3 days. Imperial forces expected quick victory but found themselves fighting not just humans, but an alliance of species that had suffered under Imperial rule. Yelina had done more than inspire rebellion, she had built a coalition. The tide turned when Yelina infiltrated the Imperial flagship during the height of battle. Using the same stealth techniques that had made her a legend, she reached the command center and planted a virus in their central computer, a virus coded by human programmers who understood Imperial systems better than the Empire understood itself. As Imperial ships began turning on each other, their targeting systems compromised, Yelina broadcast a message across all frequencies: you came for one world. You created 1,000 enemies. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. The final stand. The Imperial fleet retreated, but Yelina knew this was far from over. The Empress would never forgive such humiliation. She would return with everything she had, determined to make an example of Earth that would terrify the galaxy back into submission. Yelina made a choice that surprised everyone, including herself. Instead of continuing her guerrilla campaign, she sent a single message to the Empress: a challenge to personal combat, winner takes all. If the Empress won, Earth would surrender unconditionally. If Yelina won, the Empire would withdraw from human space forever. The galaxy held its breath. Never in Imperial history had anyone challenged the Empress directly. She was more than a ruler, she was a genetically enhanced warrior with centuries of combat experience and technology that bordered on magical. They met on a neutral station at the edge of human space. No weapons except what they carried, no armor except what they wore, no allies except their own skill and determination. The fight lasted hours. The Empress was everything legends claimed: faster than thought, stronger than steel, with reflexes that defied physics. But Yelina had something the Empress had never faced: the desperate fury of someone fighting for the freedom of her entire species. In the end, it came down to a single moment. The Empress, confident in her superiority, made the same mistake her assassins had made months earlier: she underestimated the human spirit. Yelina's blade found its mark. As the Empress fell, her final words were a whisper of disbelief. How? You're just human. Yelena looked down at her fallen enemy and spoke the words that would echo through history. That's exactly why you lost. The Empire honored the agreement. Whether from respect for their fallen empress or fear of what other humans might be capable of, they withdrew from Earth and left humanity to find its own path among the stars. Yelena disappeared after the victory, vanishing as completely as she had when her war began. Some say she returned to Earth to live quietly. Others believe she still moves through the galaxy, watching for threats to human freedom. But everyone knows her name now. From the lowest criminal to the highest lord, across every world and every species, they whisper the same warning. Never wake the Baba Yaga. Humanity would not kneel. Humanity would not break. And Yelena Mirova had made sure the galaxy would never forget why they should have been afraid from the very beginning. The end.